Hey guys, welcome back to another one. So this is going to be a project overview video, and the token that we are going to talk about today is FANTOM. So this is a blockchain that has been around for a couple years now. It's not as old as some of the other blockchains like THETA. It's actually quite new. It started in about 2019 and it has grown substantially. So in today's video, we're going to talk about a big overview of the founders, historical data, what its use cases are, and what the future tokenomics and my personal thoughts of the FANTOM blockchain at the end of this. So let's dig into what is FANTOM. They have actually a really good website, so I'm going to borrow a little bit of the text straight from the website, and it is a high performance, scalable, EVM compatible, and secure smart contract platform. So it is a layer one blockchain out there that other applications can build on top of, which is really awesome. And they think that they have solved the blockchain trilemma, or the trilemma of being secure, scalable, and decentralized, fitting all three of those into one big blockchain. And so far so good. The real test is with a lot of throughput. So that's one thing. A lot of these blockchains, they kind of have figured out how to solve the problem, but they don't have the throughput. The one blockchain that does have a lot of throughput and also has quote unquote figured out the problem is Solana, and as we know, that blockchain goes down quite a bit. So the baseline right now is Ethereum. They have not quite solved the problem. They are working to that with transitioning fully to Ethereum 2.0, and they're getting there, but as of right now, FANTOM says that they have figured it out. And right now they have, with their mainnet deployment, FANTOM Opera, it's built on top of the consensus mechanism, which is Lachesis, which is FANTOM's leaderless, asynchronous, and BFT tolerant layer one. And that is actually pretty cool. So we'll dig into this a little bit. Kind of like what I just said, there's no one centralized node with their Lachesis software, and it was created to overcome the limitations of previous consensus algorithms. And like they said, it has very high throughput. It is extremely fast. Even the EVM compliant layer has 1 second finality, which is extremely fast, and I do like that about that. So when you compare FANTOM to Ethereum, there are a lot of pros that are leaning in the side to FANTOM. And we can see a little bit about the team which created FANTOM, and it makes everything make a little bit more sense. So starting off with the CEO, Michael Kong, I'll just go over to his LinkedIn, and we can see that he is a tech individual through and through. So he has been with tech from the get-go, and then he made his transition over to blockchain in the mid 2010s, which is pretty awesome. And then he, as of the time of this recording, has been with the FANTOM Foundation almost 5 years, which is pretty great. One other member that I do want to mention is Andrew Crony, and he is a huge individual in the blockchain space and one of the fathers of DeFi. So that is what makes FANTOM very, very important as well, because they have one of the, as you see here, most notorious and prolific developers in the DeFi space in the entire industry right now. And he has chose FANTOM to be his home. And there's a lot of pros and cons with that, because there was not too long ago a time in space when he decided to take a break and he left FANTOM. The crypto price plummeted, and this was around March 6, 2022. And there's pros and cons with it, because having one of the most prolific developers is really good for your blockchain. But at the same time, if he just decides to leave, the price of FANTOM plummeted quite a bit. Although he did decide to come back, this article was in early November of 2022, and it caused the price of FANTOM to spike almost 25%. So that's one thing that I don't like about the chain. Is it's good that there is a very awesome developer there, but if this individual is not 100% going to stay with the blockchain, I think he is now, but just having a developer there causing the price to either spike or fall substantially is not something that I like. I don't want my entire blockchain to be based off of whether there's a certain CEO there or whether there's a certain developer there. I kind of want if a CEO decides to leave, of course, there might be a small spike or a small dip in price, but 25% is quite a lot. So that is some of the founders and teams that I did want to talk about. Next, moving on to the use case. Like I said, Phantom is a layer 1. And the thing I do like about a layer 1, and this layer 1 in particular, which is a relatively young one, it has a lot of decentralized applications. Over 200 dApps are already there. As you can see, there's a bunch of exchanges, cross-chain bridges, lending and borrowing platforms, yield optimizers, NFT platforms. It is all there. So that is something that I like about Phantom quite a bit. And they have other partnerships across different oracles and APIs with Chainlink. There's other integrations with Ren protocol and a bunch of other protocols, as well as larger partnerships with crypto.com and other companies out there, and even governments and enterprises. So Phantom is big, and it is going to continue to grow, especially with these large partnerships. So that is a huge pro to Phantom, and that is something that I do like quite a bit. Now, with that being said, one of its main use cases being DeFi, and like I said, the main developer who is one of the fathers of DeFi being a part of it, there's pros and cons with that. A lot of the DeFi protocols, we are kind of waiting on the SEC to come out with some sort of regulation to see how this will evolve going forward, because the last bull cycle, there was a lot of unregulated, decentralized finance products out there. Whether they're good, whether they're bad, we still have to wait for the SEC to come in, make the regulations so that larger companies will decide whether they like Solana or whether they like Ethereum or whether they like Phantom. And we as crypto users and investors, we have to wait until that regulation comes for more of the big money to start pouring into it. So that is one of the downsides as well, just being a layer 1 that is heavily focused on DeFi. Not that it's the only thing, as we saw before. There's a lot of other things like GameFi and NFT platforms out there as well. So with that being said, that is going to heavily kind of skew the price going forward, depending on what the SEC does decide. But with that being said, since 2019, there has been quite a large rise in the price of Phantom, starting off around a penny, and then the last bull cycle, it got just above $3. So that is pretty impressive for the potential going forward of Phantom. Right now, once again, we are in the crypto winter, and prices are hovering around 20 cents plus or minus a couple cents from there. And I think it's a all right price. I think from here on out, this will probably be a baseline price that we can expect to see Phantom until the next bull cycle. So the other thing that I wanted to mention that involves the price is how much money is locked into this platform. Right now, Phantom is ranked number 62. And with it still being ranked number 62, if you go to DeFi Llama, you can see that it is ranked number 8 for the total value locked. So the money that is locked into the chain, which is very, very impressive. It is heavily using that DeFi in order to prop up its price. So whenever DeFi does come back in the future, Phantom will be one of the chains that a lot of big money hedge funds, VCs start looking at. So that is something that is also taken into consideration with the price. So my personal thoughts on this, I do like Phantom as a smaller cap DeFi play for the next bull cycle. So this is something that I am interested in. There are pros and cons with it. Some of the cons, like I said, the SEC around the corner with their litigation probably, and then also just having some of the developers, which is also a good pro. He is one of the forefathers of DeFi, but if he decides to leave again, then the price is going to take a huge hit. Other than that, the fast consensus mechanism is also a huge pro that a lot of companies will look at in order to continue to invest their money in. So overall, I really do like Phantom. This is something that, as you've seen me in the past, I am continuing to average into a bunch of different cryptos. Phantom could be one of the cryptos that I'm averaging in on. If you're interested in seeing exactly what I am purchasing, I do have a Patreon out there. I am purchasing crypto every single day in this crypto winter cycle, because now I think is a perfect time to continue to accumulate. If you're interested in following me, like I said, I do have that Patreon over there. If not, feel free to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I will see you on the next one.